When the Barbie movie came out this summer, y'all might have seen that it was very hotly debated. There was lots of folks were talking about this movie, but it wasn't for what I thought people would be arguing about. It wasn't perpetuating an unrealistic beauty image for women, and it wasn't anti-feminist. It was actually quite the opposite. Apparently, it was a little too empowering for some folks' taste. The movie and the conversations that I had following the movie produced emotions in me that I was not really expecting to feel. I mean, it's just a movie about a plastic doll, right? Spoiler alert, not a movie just about a plastic doll. It's a lot more to it. When I was an adolescent, I hung out with my brothers and their friends. There weren't a lot of girls in my neighborhood growing up, and I didn't have any sisters, and we were all very close in age, and we'd spend our summers on our bikes a lot of time, just like roaming around the neighborhood, jumping fences, swimming at the local pool, and sometimes the boys would play basketball at the house next door in the driveway. But I wasn't invited to play basketball. I just sat and I watched them, and sometimes I would cheer for them, or I would bring them sandwiches and Kool-Aid. Mostly I was trying to impress a particular boy, and he happily ate the sandwiches and drank the Kool-Aid, and then they went back to playing basketball. And I just sat there watching them because I had served my purpose at the time, and my purpose at the time was to serve the boys. Now, this is my memory. This is my experience. I'm not blaming my brothers for what happened, or I'm not blaming their friends for this experience. They didn't cause it, or a lifetime of similar experiences I and other women have had in a world that is run by men. But they did, and the men, that is, did and continue to benefit in this world, and I need them to hear about our frustrations, about our female experience. We need men to listen to what has been the result of living in a patriarchal society. Author Frederick Joseph, this book that he wrote, I'll tell you the title of it in a second, you have to read. Frederick Joseph, he identifies as cisgender. So cisgender means that you identify with the gender that you were born with, the one you were assigned at birth. So he identifies as cisgender, heterosexual male. He defines the patriarchy as, it's a very long definition, but stay with me here. The emotional, physical, mental, metaphysical, political, social, and economic manifestation of the false belief in oppressive ideology that individuals and women aligned with what is subjectively deemed to be femininity or womanhood is inferior or of lesser value than the subjective opposite, which is masculinity and manhood. So that's a lot of words, right? Just to say that that's essentially what's going on, is that there's this idea, a very false idea, that one is better than the other. Not true. The Barbie movie shines a big, bright, pink light on what it is like to live in a society in which one gender is not equal to the other. But in the Barbie movie, it's the Kens who are not equal. It's the Kens who are serving the sandwiches and the Kool-Aid to the Barbies. The Barbies run the world. They hold all the leadership positions. They get all the Nobel Peace Prizes. They drive all the cool cars. And they own, well, pretty much everything. They own everything. The Kens don't really have another role other than to look handsome and to pursue Barbies and to play on the beach. That's what the Kens do in the Barbie movie. I am 48 years old, and my experience of growing up female is a very different experience from a woman who is 78 years old. And it's very different from a woman who is 28 years old or 18 years old or 8, which, by the way, this movie was not made for little girls. It's PG-13. And there was a fair amount of criticism, I don't know if y'all heard this or not, about how this movie was not age appropriate for little girls, because it is called the Barbie movie, but that's why it's rated PG-13. It's really more designed for the older, people. And just because it is like, I don't know if y'all know the movie Deadpool. It's a Marvel superhero movie. So even though it's a superhero movie, it's still rated R. It still has a lot of violence and sex in it. You really should be taking your children to go see Deadpool, just because it's a superhero movie. Same thing about the Barbie movie. Just wanted to throw that out there. Writer and director of the Barbie movie, do y'all know that the writer, and I know it's very exciting, Kristina's back there like, woohoo, her name is Greta Gerwig, and she was raised Unitarian Universalist. Of course she was. Also, the first female director to have ever produced a $1 billion movie. That is pretty dang exciting, right? And here's the thing, though. She didn't make this movie for children. She didn't make the movie for children. She made it for women, but not just women. She also made it for men. The social issues addressed in this movie, gender inequality, masculinity, femininity, self-doubt, anxiety, violence, objectification, body image, capitalism, sexual harassment, perfectionism, mortality. I don't know if y'all catch that in the little trailer, but when they're partying, she's like, do you guys ever think about dying? Yeah, so this is a big issue that was addressed in the movie. And also our purpose. Why are we here? These are all issues that affect us all of us. All of us. And so I found myself getting a little bit angry, just a little bit angry in the weeks after seeing the movie, because sometimes I would hear folks say that they're not going to go see the movie because that's a movie for women and girls. That has nothing to do with me. Or after they watched it, certain men would say, it just wasn't entertaining enough, which is ridiculous. If you've seen it, it's a highly entertaining movie. Or some say it was too preachy. Or I had someone else say that it was feminist trash. Feminist trash, I know, right? Pretty strong words. And it was a bunch of nonsense. The perspective that frustrated me the most about it was that it was anti-men. There's a defensiveness. There's a defensiveness behind certain men's reactions to the Barbie movie. Some feel a little criticized, like they're being blamed for creating the patriarchy. One white heterosexual cisgendered guy told me that he feels like enemy number one in the United States right now. Enemy number one. And I can see where he's coming from. There's a lot of people that are a little bit upset, not just women, but people of color and non-heterosexual folks that are angry at the boys' club. And the boys' club is mostly made up of cisgendered, heterosexual, able-bodied, capitalist, Christian, white men. That's the boys' club. And I get it. His feelings are valid. Totally valid. I want to hear more about his feelings. I want to hear more about men's feelings. We need to hear more about men's feelings. Influential thinker and trailblazing feminist Bell Hooks argues that our society, which discourages men from expressing emotions and encourages them to be strong and brave and tough and successful and admired, is hurting not just women, but it's hurting the men as well. They're taught that showing empathy and compassion makes you weak. They are taught that fighting and violence are not only an acceptable way to solve problems, but also a form of entertainment a lot of times. They're taught that real men drink beer, are sexually dominant, and are risk takers. And well, in the Barbie movie, they really like horses, like a lot, and big trucks, and working out. They really think muscles are super important. The Kens do in the Barbie movie. And so all of this was addressed as Ken realized he had never truly examined his own identity, his own emotions, and his own sense of self. And he had never cried before. And to this day, there are so many men I know that are discouraged from crying. I can't tell you how many times I've been with a family in the hospital as a chaplain, working with families in the hospital, and a loved one passed away. And the patriarch, the father of the family, would not cry, or he would leave the room to cry because he said, "I am a strong man, and we don't cry. We have to stay strong." And grieving and crying are not a sign of weakness. It's actually really bad for your psyche to crush all that inside of you. So men need to be able to cry. It's okay. The roles and the expectations that we have of women in our lives have shifted so much in the past 100 years, and so much progress has been made. So after my mom died in 2021, I live in Tampa, so I took a little solo staycation. I went to Treasure Island Beach for the weekend, and by myself. I have 2 teenage boys, so I just went by myself. And I kind of had a little bit of an emotional breakdown. I'm going to say breakthrough. Let's say breakthrough instead of breakdown in my hotel room, because I thought about that it wasn't that long ago where women couldn't just check into a hotel on a weekend by themselves. They had to have a man with them, or permission. Some of you might remember when you couldn't just check in to a hotel by yourself. And even when it was allowed, it was kind of frowned upon. It's kind of frowned upon for women to travel by themselves. My mother never would have taken a weekend to go to the beach and then go to a restaurant and eat by herself. That wasn't a thing that was encouraged. We stand on the shoulders of women who fought like hell for us to have the rights that we have today. And the younger generations, both boys and girls, are depending on us to continue to work this so we can all be free. The only way we are going to build this society is through open and honest and authentic connections and conversations. I thoroughly enjoyed the Barbie movie. I love it when pop culture gets people talking about social issues, because like Unitarian Universalists, we have a long history of working to create a world where all people are free and equal. We talk about this stuff all the time. If you've been coming to the church for a while, or if you're new, we talk about this stuff all the time. We are very action-oriented faith. I'm not going to brag. Yes, I am. I'm going to brag. Most of the leaders in our denomination are women. They're women. We're trailblazers to get women in the pulpit and women in leadership. We were on the front lines working for marriage equality. We lead initiatives addressing anti-racism, anti-oppression, environmental justice. We are action-oriented as far as a community goes, and we're in a society where people are more and more distrustful of religion daily. I don't know if y'all have picked up on that. People aren't going to church like they used to, especially younger generations. They're just not going to church, and not everyone is going to grab a protest sign and march on Washington, even if they do believe that all people should be equal. But you know what they are going to do is they're going to go to the movies. People are going to go to the movies. In fact, for a quarter of the viewers that went to the theater to see the Barbie movie, that was the first movie they had gone into since the pandemic, into a theater. So people are starting to go back to the movie theater. And as I considered this while reading numerous negative remarks about the movie, I thought, well, it's like art. It's like a piece of artwork. Some people are going to like certain art and others are not, but we express our feelings about the art because this movie is a piece of artwork, and that's a good thing. Even the ones that didn't see it and are blabbing, I can't stand that when people don't see something, then they form an opinion on it. It's like, really? But you didn't see it, they're blabbing about how it's garbage, but they're still helping fuel that conversation. And on Facebook, I was given the opportunity to respond to each comment in a thoughtful and compassionate way. I'm serious. I was very thoughtful and compassionate to every tone-deaf, ignorant comment that I read. And that gave others the space to express their feelings. Not everyone is going to agree with my opinion. Shocking. It's shocking, isn't it? Not everyone agrees with everything I say. But even those that are closed off to the messages of the Barbie movie, it provides teachable moments when we talk about this stuff. They may not themselves be learning, but others are seeing what's happening, and they are learning. So in regards to Facebook, which I am on a lot, the social media, I got a couple of comments that I wanted to share with y'all today. This is from a dad. I took my girls to see it. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't surprising. Oh, by the way, he's also a Unitarian Universalist. It wasn't surprising information for me, as my company is a women in technology group, of which several of my colleagues were on the leadership board. We've had long discussions over wings and beer about these topics, and it was eye-opening for me at the time. They just didn't put the puzzle pieces together. The Barbie movie is an excellent way to bring the story to life. And it really is an empowering message for women and girls. Also, if men listen carefully to the narrative, it talks about our own defining attributes and how lifting up women, I love this, lifting up women does not mean diminishing the roles of men. Doesn't mean the same. Every wife and mother in there that left the theater, I love this, he saw this on their faces. We felt heard. We felt heard and encouraged. And he saw it, and he also goes on to say, folks threatened by this movie and having a little hissy fit over some perceived slight against their masculinity is just an expression of their own insecurity. Another comment, this one from a 43-year-old woman. I was so surprised by the plot depth and the messaging. America Ferrera's monologue, recognizing pieces and hardships of my life, even I had never been able to put into words. My husband grabbed my hand for that part of the movie, and I love that he understood it, that he understood me a little bit more. I feel safer, more seen, and better understood by this man I've known and loved for years. It's kind of amazing that a scene in a movie can do that, but I'll take it. Him being receptive to the message of my experience as a woman, and him grasping the gravity of so many parts that he will never experience, priceless, cathartic. After the movie, all the dudes in our group were kind of quiet. They really listened to each of the women who were there with them as they talked. My guy friends hugged me a little harder when we parted for the night. It's really amazing to see anyone I care about make more room. Make more room for someone else's experience, because that is growth. And that's what I want for all of us. Real men care about the experience of others and lean in to build empathy. So, if you've seen the movie, you know what my friend is talking about when she talks about America Ferrera's monologue. For many women, this was a very emotional scene, me included. It has to do with the unrealistic expectations put on us women. Yes, the movie is a criticism of the patriarchy. It is, and how it harms both women and men. Keep that in mind. Helps both women and men. And yes, it explores the existential reality that life is filled with pain and sadness and anxiety. And by the way, we're all going to die. That's in the Barbie movie. But but Barbie, the Barbie doll, since its inception over 50 years ago, has actually reflected society in both positive and not so positive ways. Stereotypical Barbie, which is the main character, she's stereotypical Barbie. She's thin and blonde and white and unrealistically perfect. But as our culture has changed, so has Barbie. Barbie didn't have to be a mom if she didn't want to be. She could have a career instead. In 1962, the dream car and the dream house was introduced, helping little girls see the value and the reward of independence. In 1968, the first black Barbie was released, and finally in the 80s, Barbies of a variety of skin colors hit the market in the 80s. So if you see up here, I have a variety of different Barbies and skin colors, and I'll get to this one in a second. Initially, the careers of Barbie were flight attendant, nurse, actually I have a nurse right here, and candy striper. That's it. That's all you could be as a woman, a flight attendant, a nurse, or a candy striper. But later on, Barbie became an astronaut, a veterinarian, and a rock star. 1991 gave us military Barbie. 1993, the year I graduated from high school, police officer and Dr. Barbie. And since the 21st century hit, there have been over 200 more careers added to the Barbie line. Now, I'm still waiting for the Reverend Barbie or the Chaplain Barbie. I think that needs to happen, don't you? Another huge reflection, this is what I'm going to talk about with this one here, is how society has changed, is that now Barbies are in different body sizes. It's not like how it used to be. That was unrealistic. You know, they say of Barbie, the proportions, she wouldn't even been able to stand up. But now, like this one I got, if y'all come up here and look at it after service, she has thighs. She has like real human woman thighs on her. And yeah, her body, and there's these other ones as well, if you look. They look like actual women. That is called progress. And they have this one has flat feet too. She has, and I also got it because it's kayak, and I like to go kayaking. But so I hope, and I showed y'all my shoes. Notice that I am wearing a very pink, girly dress today. I love dresses. And I love wearing pink. It's my favorite color. But I also wear my Birkenstocks. And, I brought you all these to show y'all this. I pretty much wear my Birkenstocks every day. I was going to wear heels because, you know, the Barbie thing. We know with the heels. But these are mine. I wore these to my ordination. Yes, when I was ordained at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Sarasota. And at the end of that day, I threw these dang shoes off and said never, ever, ever again. I don't care how cool they are. I mean, and they're cool, but no, I'm not wearing the heels anymore. It's all about the Birkenstocks, because you do your work in your Birkenstocks. We're here to do some work. Being a woman is challenging. It's challenging, and it always has been. And the time we are living in right now presents its own special set of challenges. And because Ferrera's monologue directed at Barbie, so when she does this monologue, she's speaking to Barbie, was so impactful for so many women, I would like to deliver it for y'all now. All right, give me a second. It is literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think that you're good enough. Like, we have to always be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy. But also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane. But if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not too pretty to tempt them too much, or that you threaten the other women because you're supposed to be part of the sisterhood. But always stand out and always be grateful. But never forget that the system is rigged. So find a way to acknowledge that, but always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard. It's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or even says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but it's also all your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And if all of this is also true for a doll representing a woman, then I don't even know. So yeah, I was irritated just a little bit with men saying that they thought the Barbie movie was stupid. They thought it was stupid and it wasn't worth their time and it wasn't worth their money, because it felt very dismissive to hear that. Don't we all want to be seen? And don't we all want to be heard? Don't we all want those who don't share our experience to not only listen, but also put the effort into trying to understand? The negative reaction of some people to this movie did upset me, but I pretty much live in a constant state of agitation towards closed-minded people who are afraid of change and consequently perpetuate the oppression of the marginalized. Yes, I am a little bit agitated by that. But what was more powerful is the hope it filled me with. So much hope, because there are men, lots and lots of men, who want to engage in these conversations with women about how to create a less patriarchal and more equal society. And there are women, lots of women, who would like to engage in discussion with men on how to create a more patriarchal, a less patriarchal, and more equal society. I would say matriarchal, but that's a whole nother sermon. I don't even want to get in on that. When we are equal, not only patriarchal, not only matriarchal, but when we are equal, it benefits us all. It benefits us all. And there is a whole generation of men and women and non-binary humans who are ready to see change take place and to build a new way. Yes, just like the Barbie designer Ruth Handler said, humans only have one ending, but ideas live forever. May it be so.
Our final hymn today is hymn number 1017 in the Teal hymn book, Building a New Way, 1017. are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Our closing words, the name of the book is Patriarchy Blues by Frederick Joseph. We all need to read this book. It's a fantastic book, Patriarchy Blues. So this is from his book. Each one of us is a part of someone's ocean of memories. The question is whether we're remembered as someone who helped them float or tried to sink them. And now we shall extinguish our chalice.
When I wake up and in my own pink world, I get up, get out of bed and wave to my homegirls. Hey Barbie, hey, she's so cool, all dolled up, just playing chess by the pool. Come on, we've got important things to do. It's her and me and you in pink. Goes with everything, beautiful from head to toe. I'm ready to go and you know it's pink. Good enough to drink. We all like the colors, but pink just looks so good on us. Dress or suit, either way that power looks so good on you. Hey Barbie, I like your style. If that were really a mirror, you'd see a perfect smile. Round and round and round and round and... That's my Barbie. Go Barbie, go Barbie. That's my Barbie. Ooh, 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 ooh. That's my Barbie. Go Barbie, go Barbie. That's my Barbie. Ooh, 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 ooh. Come on, we've got important things to do. It's her and me and you in pink. Goes with everything, beautiful from red to go, you know it's pink. Gold enough to drink. We all like the colors, but pink just looks so good on us. Pink. I